So you've mastered land maps and now want to know the best build order for hybrid maps in competitive Age of Empires 2 multiplayer? Well, great, because I'll show you the perfect balance between water and land so you can crush your opponent in no time, and as always we'll talk about which civs to use for it, and we'll do it all in less than 10 minutes. Let's go! First things first, as opposed to Arabia or Arena builds, the category of hybrid maps obviously has a ton of different maps in there, and what they all need to have in common for this build order to make sense is a sizable body of water with deep fish in it, a land connection to your opponent, and you need to have a starting TC with 3 villages, so not a nomadic start. With all that said, I picked Mediterranean for this demonstration, as it nicely ticks all the boxes and doesn't have any distractions on it. As always, we're picking Magyars as our civilization because it doesn't have any eco bonuses impacting this build. With that said, let's get the build order chart going and get into it. The first 6 villages are very standard. Build your 2 starting houses and start eating your sheep and keep adding up to 6 villagers on food. Meanwhile, as always, it's important to scout your boars, additional sheep and deer. And crucially, one more thing, which is the shoreline and at least 1 shorefish, so you know where to place your dock. However, no rush on that, you'll only place your dock around villager 13. While we let this play out, you can see it in the build order chart, we are going for a fast feudal build here. And that is the common strategy you want to use on hybrid maps, because water usually gets contested already in early Feudal Age. Now you might ask, why go on water at all, not just play it as if it's Arabia? And yes, you absolutely can do that. However, water with its free fish will become a massive eco bonus for the player who uses it, and your opponent will definitely outboom you very quickly if you're not contesting water at all. Remember, a dock is basically like an additional town center for just 150 wood, and who would say no to that? In order to prepare for running a dock, we'll send villagers 7 to 11, so a total of 5 on the wood line next, and that is to produce fishing ships constantly once our dock is up. As we have a minute here, let's talk about the civs that are great for this build order. We'll obviously need something with a dark or feudal age bonus, and a civilization that has a water bonus as well. That leaves us with a few common choices for hybrid maps, being the Japanese, where their eco buildings cost 50% less, so your lumber camp, your mining camp or your mill, and also their fishing ships work faster. Another great choice are the Byzantines, because their fire ships actually attack faster, and that is really helpful in the early feudal age engagements. Also, the Dravidians are a good choice, where their fishing ships carry 15 more food. They also get 200 wood when advancing to the next age, and their docks provide plus 5 pop space, pretty useful. Other honorable mentions that I recommend you look up for this build order are the Bengalis, the Berbers, the Italians, the Koreans and the Portuguese, all of which have some sort of bonus that can help for this type of map and make them a viable option. And obviously any civilization that has a benefit for the land unit that you plan to send over to your opponent. In our case we're going to send scouts, so the Magyars that we've picked here, or one of the new DLC civs, actually make a great choice with their cavalry bonuses. We are interrupting this program for an urgent announcement for those of you with deep pockets that bought the new DLC. The Wu, a new civilization of the recently released 3 Kingdoms DLC, also make a great choice for hybrid maps with their various dock bonuses and overall strong military and eco bonuses, so definitely consider them if you can. And now, back to the regular broadcast. Personally, by the way, I think scouts are a great choice for hybrid land map aggression for 2 reasons. Number 1, in Feudal Age, your fire ships will use wood and gold resources, and scouts only cost food. So you have a nicely balanced economy that can serve all of these purposes. And reason number 2, oftentimes hybrid maps have a large body of water right in the middle, so it takes quite a while to go around that to get to your opponent. If you have cavalry, you'll be there faster, and that makes your early aggression way more useful. Back to the build order, we now have the 5 required on wood, and villager number 12 is already building a house and then a dock. Make sure to use that house as part of your natural wall and close to the shoreline to reduce walking distance. The next few villages will then go on to hunt, starting with a vill to lure the first boar. We'll continue to go on to hunt until we have 17 villages total. While all of this happens, obviously make sure that you push your deer and use whatever other food source you have close to your TC. Meanwhile, when you place the dock, it's crucial you put it right next to a shorefish, because your villager will take that after building the dock. As you might have seen in my nomad build, by the way, we'll then add a house behind that shore villager, well, because we need one, and it will protect your villager in case your enemy scout is around, and this way you just need to place 1 palisade and it's safe. Once the dock is up, we build a total of 3 fishing ships and send them out to the nearest deep fish, because collection rates on deep fish are more efficient than shorefish. Note, as we're adding fishing ships here, your population count will climb quite quickly, and it's more difficult to use it as your build order counter. However, on this little icon here, you can see the villager count, which does not include fishing ships, very useful for hybrid maps. If you want your resource bar and the rest of the game to look like this, by the way, check out my video on 5 essential mods to make your game look like that of a pro. Or, well, mine. The final 3 villages to get to 20 Vills will go on to wood because we'll need a ton of it shortly. After that I usually get loom and then click up to Feudal Age with about 20 villages, 3 fishing ships and hopefully still my scout. If you pull off this build order perfectly, by the way, or if you have a civ bonus that helps you out, you can consider delaying loom into Feudal Age. But be mindful, it will impact the amount of wood you've collected in the meantime, and as always you run into the risk of early Feudal Age aggression by your opponent, especially after the April 25 patch. Infantry men-at-arms aggression is definitely a viable strategy, and not having loom might get punished. But anyway, enough with the disclaimers, we get it before Feudal Age, and it also removes a bit of pressure off of your build order perfection. You will see here in a minute, as soon as we've clicked up, we rebalance all our hunters to wood, except for 3 which go to gold, so you can pay for a second dock, a house, barracks, a stable, fire ships, and more houses in Feudal Age. After you're done with all the rebalancing, take your shore villager to build a second dock and house near the next shorefish, as you can see here. And this is because we have to produce fire galleys out of 2 docks to fight for water control as soon as we hit Feudal Age. Your scouting is super important on hybrid maps, by the way. So scout your opponent and don't lose your scout to the TC.
God, it's so tight with the board. No, 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 no. No. Ah. Good to go. Oh, no, 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 no. Come on.
Oh. Oh, not again. The other thing we need to do in the second half of advancing is take 2 Vills from the woodline to build the barracks, followed by a stable and houses once we hit Feudal Age. Start that at about 50% of clicking up and you'll be just in time. It might take a couple of force drops on wood, by the way, but it is worth all the pressure you'll produce, I promise. As per usual, use those buildings as part of your natural wall, so you have to wall less later. As you kind of wait around here, this is a good time to refresh your scouting information on how many docks your opponent has placed, where their eco buildings are, and so forth. The trick on hybrid maps really is knowing when to commit where, and for that we need intel. Meanwhile, already queue up a few Vills in the town center, and here we go, we've hit Feudal Age, and fire up your production right away. Drop the stable, start your fire galley production, and pump out Vills. As you'll be producing out of 4 buildings here, so the TC, a stable and 2 docks, you have to take 1 villager and keep producing houses constantly. The first villager out of the TC, by the way, will go to gold, and then all others to food. Also, as soon as you have placed your stable and produced the first 2 fire ships, your wood requirements go down quite rapidly, so shift some villagers away from wood and onto food, until you have 8 to 10 on wood, and this depends on whether you're constantly producing fire ships afterwards or not. In this case I am, so I leave it at 10 villagers on wood. The first 2 fire ships should make their way over to the opponent's dock right away to see what you're actually dealing with. Same story for the scouts. As soon as you have 2 plus your starting scout, you can definitely send them over to your enemy base and start bothering the hell out of them. And you will see here why this build is so powerful, because you can keep pumping out fire ships out of 2 docks, as well as scouts out of a stable, and best of it all, villages out of the TC. So you're not committing to an all-in strategy here whatsoever, and will still have a very strong Castle Age uptime. The only things that are left to do here now are, number 1, wall up your base. Number 2, shift your food Vills from hunt onto berries and farms as your hunt runs out. And number 3, and this is the strategically most important thing to understand about hybrid maps, is to assess when to stop production on land and water. For land units, it's the same as always. You usually stop when you realize that you can't do any more damage to your opponent's base, or if you yourself are fully walled. For water units, it's also very simple. You stop producing fire ships when you realize you've won or lost the water. Little tip here that has cost me many games before: if you win water and destroy your enemy's docks, patrol your fire ships along the coastline to spot the second they try to go back onto water. In case you lose the water, it's probably best to focus on land and see if you can regain water control in Castle Age with a new sneaky dock that is usually placed towards the side of the water body that isn't seeing too much action. And that's it, all you need to know on how to play hybrid maps. Let me know down in the comments below which civs you like to play with it, how you modify this build order, and whether you think the new civs are gonna shake up the meta for hybrid maps at all. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Adios!